Hello everyone. For today's Mammography Registry review video, we are going to cover EQUIP, MQSA, and federal regulations. If you all could comment below in the comment box, let me know if you knew anything about the new federal regulations before watching this video, if your instructor told you about it, or if you heard about it while you was doing your clinical. So we are going to talk about it, but just let me know in the comment box if you knew of those new changes or not. Okay, for today's lesson, we are going to cover EQUIP. What is it? What is it for? And then we are going to talk about MQSA. When was it enacted? What is it for? And why was it created and implemented? And then we will talk about the new federal regulations. Okay, this is the EQUIP section. For EQUIP stands for Enhancing Quality Using the Inspection Program. It has 3 inspection questions that they have and that they ask and follow, which is included with the EQUIP. EQUIP was created for the MQSA requirements for those lead interpreting physicians, and those physicians are responsible for corrective actions, such as if there are reports coming in and the reports are saying the mammogram texts are taking too many repeats, or there are a lot of deodorant seen on the images. There aren't a lot of pictures with the nipple in profile. So that's what the lead interpreting physician is for. They are for like looking at these images, finding out the corrective actions for them. So pretty much they'll reach out to the manager, and then the manager will talk to the technologist. So that's just one example of what they would do. The first year of EQUIP was in 2017, and then this program was introduced by the Mammography Quality Standards Act, MQSA. Make sure you know that, and make sure you know the acronym, like what does MQSA acronym stand for. Also know that this program is monitored by the FDA, which is the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. So EQUIP is pretty much going to ensure that there are quality assurance, or your QA, clinical image quality, quality control, which is your QC. The purpose of EQUIP is to focus on quality, just to make sure that the mammography technologist is actually going in. They are performing those mammograms. They're not just putting the patient up against the board and taking a picture, not worrying about motion, not worried about not getting enough tissue in there, not getting enough pectoralis muscle. If you have a difficult patient where you cannot get an IMF, one day you just decide, I'm not going to get this IMF. I've tried 2 times. It's hard for me. I'm just going to let it go. So EQUIP is going to focus more on quality and those corrective actions that need to be taken to see, okay, why this tech isn't getting, and these are just examples, why this tech isn't getting IMF pictures, or why they keep clipping anatomy. So, are you all comfortable with performing your MLOs and getting those IMF, like good IMF pictures? Because I seen a comment one day, it wasn't on any of my videos, but or it was like a video someone made and they said that they struggle with getting like a good MLO picture. But that's expected whenever you're first like learning how to perform mammograms, because every new tech, even I struggled when I was when I was a student, I struggled with my MLOs too. So the CC view is always the easiest whenever you are learning. But yes, a lot of people struggle with the MLO view. One thing I did, because a lot of my images was coming out with the pectoralis muscle kind of folded. I don't know if you know what I mean, but it was like kind of folded, and it wasn't like as flat or as straight as the radiologist liked. So what I did was I would take the patient's arm and I would make sure this part under the arm is like behind the machine. So whatever you call this part. You can be nice and call it like the bat wings or whatever, but I will make sure this part that hangs down is behind the machine when I put their arm up. And then you want to make sure that the patient is brought to like in front of the machine as possible, because that will make a big difference too. So those are just examples that I threw out of focusing on quality. You want to make sure that you're taking quality image, because if you're turning in images with folds, especially on the 2D image and your 3D images, if it has like folds, then it's going to be hard for the radiologist to see like, is there anything hiding behind this fold? So I just want to just give examples so you can understand the purpose of what quality they are talking about a little better. It also emphasizes the importance of clinical image quality and requires facilities to establish and implement a process for regular image quality review and corrective actions. So, like I was saying, if techs are not getting a good IMF, or if a lot of patients are coming in with the deodorant under their arm and no one is catching it, those image quality review and corrective action is going to see, okay, let's review these images. Why are all of these images being repeated? And then whenever you see why you're reviewing the quality, your corrective action will be to make sure the techs know you're supposed to give every patient a wipe. Make sure that you have a sign out, in the dressing room where it shows the patient you have to remove any deodorant, any lotion around your breast, under your arm. So, just to throw out some examples, and then you have the primary goal of EQUIP is to reduce the number of additional mammography reviews that fail due to poor image quality, which ensures a better patient outcome. If patients have to come back, and I would be upset too. They probably won't be happy if they have to come back because mistakes are being made. Can you let me know in the comment box if you've had or seen where a patient had to come back because of repeats? It happens to all of us where there may be where we didn't catch motion on our computer monitor, but the radiologist did, or we didn't catch the deodorant specks on the patient's arm, but the radiologist noticed it. So when they have to come back, when they get that call, they are going to think that the facility is calling them for their results, but the facility is calling them for, hey, we need you to come back in because the technologist didn't see that deodorant. And then some facilities want that technologist who did that mammogram to do it again. So now you're facing with the patient where you didn't take their images correctly. Now they're going to figure that the new images may not come out correctly. So just make sure that you are not just putting out like poor image quality. I know it's a little bit more lenient, I hate to say, but it's a little bit more lenient whenever you're working in CT and MRI, because a lot of patients who may come in and they may be altered, they may be on a vent and they can't breathe as well or hold their breath as well. In instances like that, we put notes in and we say patient is have altered mental status, which is AMS, or patient ICU patient unable to follow breathing instructions. You probably can put notes in like that for mammography, but if they see that the patient is like alert, oriented, they could have followed instructions, those notes are not going to pass. Still document why you couldn't get a good IMF, due to a large body habitus, due to a protruding abdomen, but still try to get it. But there are just some times where you're not going to get that textbook IMF, but still try to. The key components of EQUIP, this is going to establish a process for regular image quality review, meaning making sure that the staff, the manager, the supervisor, the lead interpreting physician is making sure that they are reviewing those image quality on a regular basis, instead of looking at the picture in January, not reviewing it until 3 years later. So this is going to make sure that there is some type of process in place for those images to be reviewed, ensures corrective actions are in place when issues are identified. So if there are issues found, instead of just letting it go, there are something that you are doing about it. You are fixing it. You are having a meeting. You're letting everyone know, in your huddle meeting, okay, we need to fix this. We need to correct this. And then you want to continuing to comply with the standards of the accreditation body. Equip aims to improve facility quality control processes, training, patient comfort, and overall patient outcomes. So, under patient comfort, I know we're supposed to compress, but patient comfort is you're supposed to compress. Don't compress 50 pounds when you know the patient's breast is tiny and you're using a small compression paddle. You cannot compress 50 pounds. You have to compress where the patient can tolerate and their breast is taut. So that would be an example of patient comfort. Okay, now we have our equip questions that they ask or that they have. But for this information, this is just like the headline. So it'll be like this will fall under quality assurance for question one, and we'll get more into it in the later on in the video in just a second. But for the headline for quality assurance, clinical image corrective action is being performed. Kind of like your QA, your QC, you're making sure that no specs or no artifacts or there's no faulty errors occurring in the machine. If so, you have to call a service engineer to come out and look at it and fix it. And then you have question two, the headline would be for clinical image quality. And then for question three, it's going to fall under quality control. The equip questions is going to assess whether facilities have established these procedures for identifying and correcting those image quality issues that we spoke about. It's going to ensure a proactive approach to the quality control. So what are we going to do to fix this? For example, patient motion on several images, flipped anatomy, missing IMF image. If there is patient motion on several images, several patients, you are going to have to figure out a way where you can give better breathing instructions. How are you taught to give breathing instructions? And I know we all train with different texts because whenever I was a student, I had probably 3 or 4 techs training me, which is good because you learn from different people how to do the positioning better or differently. But also, you do not know the proper breathing instructions. So, if you can let me know in the comment box where you trained, how many techs were you trained by? And the techs that you were trained by, did they give you different breathing instructions to follow? So, just let me know in the comment box because I'm curious because one person I was following or was training me, they would just tell the patient to um, hold still at the very beginning when you hear the machine going, but at the end, they would say, hold your breath. And then I had someone train me, and they said they would tell the patient, hold your breath at the beginning when you hear the machine going, and then how you hear the machine say, "Deet, deet, deet," the machine, and then you say breathe, and then you give them like 2 seconds, 3 seconds, then you tell them hold your breath again, and then at the end you say breathe. So we all learn from different people, which is good because you learn different ways on how to do things, especially like say for breast implant patients. Whenever I was a student, I was nervous about performing breast implants on performing the mammograms on patients. Also, let me know if you're comfortable with breast implants. Are those like mammograms where you're nervous about? Do you have it down to a science where you're okay with it? So one tech, how they trained me to do breast implants patients, like I was lost, but another tech trained me to whenever you're positioning for the MLO, because I was good with the CC view. It was like the MLO view that would give me trouble. So she would tell the patient to poke their behind out, and it would make their implant drop down in between the machine, and it would get like a good MLO picture. So yeah, I'm curious to know if you all are comfortable with breast implants or not. Now for equip question one, now we're getting into the equip questions. For quality assurance, clinical image corrective action. So the question is, does the facility have procedures for corrective action when clinical images are of poor quality? So, meaning like, and these are just examples. So, what kind of corrective actions do they have? What procedures? So, educational training courses, do they have that available for techs? Positioning classes, continuing education webinars, your CEUs where you're following up or even reading, making sure that you are doing everything correctly because it's easy to get into a rush and forget to ask the patient, hey, did you put deodorant on or do you have any breast concerns? All of this should be asked before you take the first picture. Even pregnancy questions, training on new equipment, and a refresher on old equipment. So there is like an apps trainer that comes every so often to our facility, and they would like train new techs on how to use the machine and even like a refresher on the older equipment. Maybe the tech is new and they have someone coming out from apps on a different day to just make sure they know how to do biopsy procedures. And then, especially whenever they have new equipment where they are trying to show the facility, hopefully get the facility to buy it, they will come out and bring the device, especially for biopsy procedures. They will bring the device and they would train the tech who was doing that biopsy on that day on how to perform the biopsy with the new equipment that they are trying to, sell. So those are examples that you could use. For equip question two, clinical image quality. So the question is, does the facility have procedures to ensure that clinical images continue to comply with the clinical image quality standards established by its accreditation body? So, do they have inspection books? Are they up to date? Are their initials on the inspection books date signed by the tech who performed it? Is it correct? Um, Facility do things very differently. I know in medical, they prefer for us to write in pen. However, when I was training in QC one day, I had someone who showed me how to log in the book in pen, and then someone logged in the book in pencil. So there need to be a correct procedure in place on how to properly document in the QC book. And then you also have your QC, your QA being performed, your clinical image review records, etc. For equip question three, this will be under quality control. The question is, does the facility have a procedure for the lead interpreting physician, oversight of the QA, QC records, and corrective action? So whenever I was watching, because I'm PRN, whenever I'm working in mammography, and then I go to work in other modalities in radiology. So whenever I would see the QC being done, they would take the book, like the technologist would take the book to the radiologist, and the radiologist will review those QA, QC books, go through it, making sure that the initials are put on there, the correct date, and the date that the information was reviewed, they will put that on there. All right, if you made it this far in the video, I love doing this. Could you let me know in the comment box where you are watching from? I'm just curious to know like how many techs are studying for their mammography exam, what state you're going to work in, if your state have a lot of jobs. I think this is like just something fun because it lets me know who all are like watching my videos and like from where and even like what country you're watching from because this mammogram, like the registry review, can be used for any national board. So it's not just for the United States, it could be used for anyone. So I think this is just pretty cool because the state that I used to live in, I don't live there now, but the state that I used to live in, there was like hardly any mammogram jobs within the whole state. So within the whole state, and this was like years ago, back when I was like checking for mammography um, jobs. It was probably like three in the whole state. So I did have two people come in. Elizabeth let me know that she was from Houston, Texas. So shout out to Houston, Texas, because she said that they have a lot of jobs available in Houston. And then shout out to Rich Girl Naya 305. She's watching from Atlanta, Georgia. I'm pretty sure that Atlanta, Georgia have a lot of mammo jobs as well. Rich Girl Naya, if you catch this video, could you let me know in the comment box if you see a lot of job openings from Atlanta, Georgia? So whenever you do leave a comment, you can just leave a simple comment saying, I'm watching from, and then just put your state or your country's name. Okay, now back to the video. So now we are going to talk about MQSA. So this is going to be the Mammography Quality Standards Act. There are new requirements for the mammography centers. They must inform patients and their healthcare providers of the patient's breast density, meaning how dense a patient's breast is. So what is MQSA? MQSA stands for the Mammography Quality Standards Act. It was enacted on October 27, 1992. If you watched my last Q&A video where I think it was physics part 3. How I remember this was MQSA, that's for mammography. Breast Cancer Awareness Month is in October. So as long as you can remember the date and like which day it was and year, you should be good because you already know it's going to be in October. So October 27, 1992 was when this act was enacted. It is enforced by the FDA and it became in effect in 1995. This act requires that all mammography units be accredited, inspected when it should be, and certified in order to use and image patients. So there will be like a certification or accreditation report actually beside the mammography unit. So it is laminated. So if you do, next time you work in mammography, if you haven't seen it already, just look on the side of or on the wall beside your machine, and you should be able to see like a picture frame with a paper in there. And then it also have CEUs that must be completed by mammography technologists, radiologists, and physicists under this act. The requirements for mammographers, you have 40 hours of initial mammography course that you must take. Um, I don't know if everyone have taken it or not. So I had one person who commented and said that they are starting their mammogram program. So, but they also caught my videos. They're trying to, be ahead of their program. So they're watching my videos. So just make sure that you are getting your 40 hours. Your 25 supervised examinations must be done before you can work on the remaining. Then you also have those 8 hours of initial mammography modality for specific training. In my case, or in most cases, that will be that digital breast tomosynthesis or DBT. And then check with your state and ART regarding any other educational and clinical requirements. It should be across the board, you know, for the US for ART, but check with your state to see what they require for you to have. I don't think anyone, I know like years ago, people was getting their requirements just for MQSA and not for ART. I don't think they do that anymore. I think a lot of techs are also getting their requirements and satisfying those requirements for their ART certification. And then for your CEU requirements, you need 15 CEUs within 36 months. So if you are working as a multimodality tech, also let me know if you work as a multimodality tech. If you're working, let's say, in X-ray and mammo, I will make sure that you get all of your mammo CEUs first. So knock out those 15 CEUs for mammography first, and then you can do the other 10 or the other um, whatever is required, like 9 in X-ray. And then technologists must perform 200 mammograms within 24 months. This should be very easy if you work in like a busy outpatient facility or even hospital. So this should be very easy to knock out. One thing you can do is you can just perform 100 a year. And this is if you're PRN. Like if you're full time, you're probably going to get 100 in a week. If not, at least 100 in 2 or 3 days. And or you can perform all of your 200 mammogram exams in that year. And I always perform over 1,000 a year. So I'm I'm getting my numbers and I'm getting them as a PRN tech in mammography. So it should be easy for you to get your numbers unless you mainly work in another modality and you're not working in mammography as much. So we have new federal regulations. Let me know in the comment box if you knew about this. It's about the breast density. If you knew about this before you watched this video, so this regulation is very new from when I took my mammo registry. So just make sure you know this information, why the federal regulations put it into place, things like that. So this is just pretty much going to talk about like the breast density. Is it fatty? Is it very dense? The FDA now requires that all mammography facilities inform patients about their breast density in their mammogram report. So this will be found in the mammogram report. You can also see this if you are performing diagnostic mammograms on patients. You will see that in the report. Whenever you look at the report to see what area you have to spot or image on an ultrasound if you're thinking about doing breast ultrasound. So the top picture to the which is above me it will be our left, or actually it will be yeah, it'll be on the left side of the screen. So this is a breast MRI image. I also work in MRI and I perform a lot of breast MRI exams. So the new regulation went into effect on September 10th, 2024. It is mandatory to notify patients regarding if they have dense breast tissue, which can make it harder to detect cancer on a mammogram. So this is pretty much letting patients know, hey, you have this breast tissue, extreme this breast tissue, you need to make sure that you are coming back yearly, which patients are pretty good about coming back yearly, but if they know that they have this breast tissue, which makes it harder to read their mammogram, they will really come back because some patients they may have a bad experience and they may not come back for another 5 to 8 years and then they give it a try again. Or you have patients who changed insurance companies, life got in the way and they just couldn't come back. So those are examples. Additional screening options will be discussed or must be discussed with the patients. And this normally happens with their physicians. You can also let them know if their questionnaire came up in their number, their percentage gave them like a certain amount of number where they are at like greater risk for breast cancer, then you can let them know, hey, you may get a call from the high risk clinic. They're going to talk about other options for as additional screening, but most of the time their physician will also tell them this as well. They will recommend if the patient need a breast ultrasound, a breast MRI, if they should get that BRCA or check 2 gene genetic test. And then the image at the bottom, that is a breast ultrasound image. Okay, so I want to give a special shout out. We're near the end of the video. I want to give a special shout out to these ladies for commenting, letting me know that they appreciate my videos, that they have been watching. So shout out to these ladies for leaving a comment. And this is it for the end of the video. Thank you all for watching. If you found this video to be helpful, could you please give it a thumbs up? or leave a comment below. Just let me know that you found it to be helpful. Shout out to these ladies who passed their registry exam. One passed theirs in May of 2025, and then another one passed theirs in June of 2025. So I'm waiting to see someone or a lot of y'all come back and comment under one of my videos to let me know when did you take yours and if you passed or not, so that I could add you on the list of shout outs. So far, I just only have 2 people who have told me that they have passed, but I make other videos. So I've even had people for CT who commented under one of my videos, actually maybe 2, and let me know, hey, I passed. Your CT registry review videos really help. So meaning check out the playlist for Mammography Registry Review, or look in the description box to click on the link to my playlist, because you may have noticed I have my license or registry for 5 modalities, so I make registry review videos for other modalities as well. So that would be like the easiest way that you can find my playlist. Just run through the playlist. I also moved an AI video that I did on breast imaging. I moved that to the registry review playlist because I had it in another playlist, and I'm not sure if a lot of people have seen it or not, but they're just a good complimentary video that you can all watch. But other than that, let me know if you have any questions. Thank you all for watching. Good luck on your registry, and I hope to see you all in the next video. Bye.